So today is our first lesson on probability, and our first lesson is going to be I can find outcomes and sample spaces. And in order to know what that actually means, we have to first break it down and talk about some definitions. So we've conducted experiments this last few days. So an experiment is an investigation or procedure that has varying results. So all of those different activities we did were our experiments that we conducted. The results of our experiments are the outcomes. A collection of one or more outcomes is called an event. So we had events that we collected, and the outcome of a specific event are called favorable outcomes. Those favorable outcomes are when you win the event. And so we're going to talk about how many favorable outcomes did we have based upon what we were looking for. So first of all, we're going to talk about if we roll a die. We've all done this before, so it's something we can work with. What are the possible outcomes? Well, it's any side I could land on. So my possible outcomes are a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Those are all the different things that I could potentially roll. Now, the favorable outcomes, remember favorable is how I would win of rolling an even number. So outcomes is the list of all my possible winning values. My winning values would be 2, 4, or 6. And then what are the favorable outcomes, or how would I win of rolling a number greater than 5? Well, if I look at all my possible outcomes, the only number greater than 5 is the number 6. So that would be my favorable outcome. Then, in our packet, we talked about a deck of cards. That was one of the stations, so we can analyze what those options are. We know there are 52 cards in a deck, and we want to know how many are favorable for the following. How many favorable outcomes are there if I pick a heart? Well, there are 13 hearts, so there's 13 winning options. A red card, a red face card. When I talk about face cards, there's 3 per suit. So I have 3 for diamonds and 3 for the red hearts. 3 and 3, I would have 6 cards that are favorable. Picking a black card, that's half the deck. That would be 26 favorable or winning potential cards. And then not picking an ace. Well, I know there's 4 aces from the 52 cards total. That means it leaves me with 48 remaining cards that would be winning or favorable. That's why we need to know what's in a deck, because we're going to talk about a lot of math with that. Now, spinning our spinner. We first need to talk about how many possible outcomes do we have. Well, if I count how many sections of my spinner I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 possible outcomes. However, we also need to determine how many distinct outcomes are there. A distinct outcome, which is really important to know, is different. So when I look here, how many different colors do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, I already have a red, 4, and I already have a red. So there's only 4 that are distinct. And so when I talk about the sample space, a sample space is all the ways I could win. My winning colors would be red, blue, green, or purple. Purple. Those are my sample space or my winning options. They are the distinct outcomes, not just the possible outcomes. Now, how many ways can spinning red happen? Well, I could spin a red 3 different ways because I have 3 different sections. And then lastly, we have this bag of marbles. First of all, we need to know how many outcomes are there. How many marbles are in the bag? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 possible outcomes, but how many are distinct outcomes? So how many different colors? I have blue, green, yellow, red, purple. I only have 5 distinct outcomes, and so my sample space are those distinct winning colors. We could have blue, green, yellow, red, or purple. Those are my sample space colors, which are those distinct outcomes, even though we have 8 outcomes total. If I ask you how many ways of choosing blue could occur, well, I have 2 blue marbles, so I could choose blue 2 different ways. And then I need to know how many ways can choosing not yellow occur. Well, if I don't choose yellow, how many winning outcomes could I have? I could pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different marbles, so that's my favorable outcomes. I could pick a blue. Oops, put my screen back. I could pick the blue. I could pick the green, the red, the other blue, or the purple. So today is just a really big focus on vocab and outcomes versus distinct outcomes versus sample space. Make sure that if there's questions, you have them ready for me tomorrow.